Good morning, everybody. My name is Christina and I am with Atlantic Institute. And we've created this year a whole year long classes on Zoom on life skills for teens. So we thank you all for being here this morning. I know some of you have gotten up pretty early in order to be on here to learn how to do laundry. And we have, if you missed last month's life skills for teens class, I led it with my two daughters. They're 15 and 19. And they learned very good. They learned what we taught how to make something that doesn't come in a box. And we had a great time doing that. So we have Nicole with us today. Let me just read this one chat. If you're new joining in, I know we had somebody just join in right now. If you could put down in the chat where you're from and how old you are, that would help us get a good gauge. And Dory says, definitely not a teenager, just looking how to assist teens with life skills. Well, I've done a lot of laundry. Maybe there's stuff I can do better as well. Thank you, Dory. That's what Nicole and I were thinking as well, is that we're also learning here too. So we're sure that a lot of you will give us input and we can all learn here, because we think laundry is easy until you go and ruin a bunch of stuff. So let me go ahead there, Nicole. Now you're spotlighted, and go ahead. I'm going to mute myself and you can go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then take it away.
Okay, sounds good. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nicole Martin. I actually am a licensed esthetician, so I help people with their skin and with facials and waxing services. And my laundry lady was going to do the class today, and unfortunately, she is very under the weather. So you get me today to do this. So what we're going to go over is like what steps we should do to get ready to do the laundry, how we should separate, what maybe we need to do before we actually put the clothes in the washer. We're going to go over how to wash clothes, how to dry clothes properly, and also a little bit of maintenance on what we should do for our washer and dryer, and how to fold clothes in a KonMari style of folding, and how to be as efficient as possible in our drawers. Okay, so I printed out this little sheet, and I feel like this is something that maybe is good to just kind of keep around, because in our clothes, you will see different labels, right, on how you are to treat your clothes. So if you, have some nicer fabrics or nicer clothes, you want to look inside and you're going to see a label, and it's usually in a couple different languages and has some symbols on it. But a little cheat sheet like this, which I got off of the Spruce, which is a great little website to use for tips and tricks of all sorts. So you want to, read on your nicer clothes, like what the labels are, right? We want to know what they are before we start washing. So I have this little green silk. It's a polyester. And it says machine wash in cold water, gentle cycle, wash with light clothing, hang to dry, no bleach, do not dry clean. Okay, so I know this is special, right? So I put those kind of things to the side because I only do those separate. I don't put them with my regular laundry, right? So what we want to do is we also want to keep all those things special to the side. Then we need to make sure that we're keeping on a laundry schedule, right? So maybe like you do it on Sunday, or you do it on Saturday or Monday, like whatever day works for you, just make sure you have it written down somewhere that today's my laundry day, and you're going to pull your sheets off and everything and work on doing your laundry that day. So like I said, we're going to separate out. So all of our specialty things are going to stay to the side. So I brought a couple of different things. So I have that green shirt that I know is special. If you have like a wool or fabric, that's not like your t-shirt and your jeans that you need to be careful of, again, make sure you read your labels. But I have a sweater that I know if I put it in the dryer, right, I know that I'm going to shrink it. And we all have done it. We all have put something in the washer or dryer that we shouldn't have, right? And then we pay the consequences later. I have a shirt, see, that has all these little sparkles on it. So again, that's something I'm going to put to the side because I'm going to wash that special. And so I love sparkles, obviously. So I have several pairs of pants that all have sparkles on them. So I put those to the side. Now, I turn those inside out, right? All my specialty stuff, I'm going to turn inside out so it doesn't catch on anything. Pair of pants that have little stones on them, right? I want to put those separate. So I'm not going to wash those with my regular colors. So we're going to separate out. So we're going to have darks. So we're going to have our specialty clothes. We're going to have our dark clothes. So that's anything that's going to have black or brown, like your darker colors. I usually separate all my darks out. And then I separate my brighter tones. Maybe if I have a lot of pink or royal blue, anything that's bright. I put my jeans generally in with my darker clothes. Then I put my whites or my very light colors, we put those separate. And you want to separate also your sheets and your towels. So I don't wash my sheets and my towels together. I wash those things separate. That way we don't get those little balls on things. So everything gets separated out. If you have enough space, I do not. I'm actually at my mom's house because her house is set up a lot better than mine. Unfortunately, I'm in the basement, so it's very hard to separate laundry out up there. So I have to do everything on the first floor. But if I had room, what I would prefer is like the little hampers that separate out. So then you can easily put all your colors and your specialty things in the right little hampers. Otherwise, you just have to separate them out into your piles before you take them to wherever your laundry room is set up, okay? I brought with me, so I know we have some ladies on the group, on the chat. So if you have your specialty undergarments, right, and they have hooks and eyes on them or anything, you're going to want to put those in a special laundry bag, right? This is a small one. I didn't have any of my big ones. So, but you want something like this that you can put your bras, and you want to make sure that on the back you have all your little hooks. So if you have zipper hoodies or something that you're wearing, make sure your zippers are up. That's just so they don't snag on your other clothing and cause a problem, right? One of the things that I thought was very interesting, especially if you're doing, like if you're in charge of laundry at your house and you have other brothers and sisters, one thing that I thought was very interesting this morning is they had larger laundry bags for each person's room. And in that laundry bag, you put all of your socks. So that way we don't have to worry about our socks getting lost in the washer or dryer. And then it's easier to match up each person's bag of socks, right? Because all of the socks are contained for that person in the laundry bag. I just thought that was a cool little tip. Okay, so once we separate everything out, we are going to wash actually, before we do that, let's talk about laundry detergent. So we have everything separated out. Now we have to figure out what laundry detergent we're going to use. So laundry detergent. So if we have to pre-treat anything, let's go with, okay, maybe you spilled coffee on your white shirt. So one, we want to treat that right away, right? Because we don't want that stain to set in. So there's a couple of different things you can use. Like my mom has in hers, she has Shout. So we want to spray that on our stain that we have. Here's another kind. It's another type of spot treater, laundry spray. I actually use this one, and it's worked really well for me. And I just spray everything, and then I can throw it in the wash with everything else. Now, what you might want to be concerned with is when we get ready to take it out of the wash, right? We're going to want to check before we put it in the dryer that the stain has been removed. If not, we need to put it to the side and treat it again. There's a couple of different kinds of laundry detergents that we could use. You're going to have two different kinds of washers depending on where you are or which one you have at your house, right? So most of them now have this little symbol here that says HE, which is high efficiency. Just means that they use less water, or you have a standard washer, then you have a little different protocol. You can use a little bit more soap in there, laundry soap, than you would in a high efficiency washer. You could also use like some type of little pod, right? These are going to be all, make sure you have fingers are dry when you work with the pods, but you're going to have everything that you need in here, and you can throw it in your washer. Okay? So just a couple of different kinds of laundry soap that you can use. Now, how much soap do you use, right? So if you look on the back of your detergent, you're going to have, you know, medium loads, large loads, and extra heavy loads. And they're going to tell you how much you're going to use. And then on here, you're going to see, I don't know if everybody can see that okay. You're going to have little lines that tell you how much you want to use. So for the most part, like for a medium load here, it says you're just going to use on the first one. And something that would be easy to do so you make sure that you don't overuse, because that's very, you want to overuse the soap because then it's hard to get it out of your clothes. Maybe you just put a little black mark there. So you know not to go above that line, makes it a little bit easier. Because sometimes it's easy to overuse the laundry soap. So let's say that we're gonna, since I have a full load of sheets, I'm gonna go ahead and do my sheets. So I'm gonna pull over here closer to the washer. So bear with me here. It's a little. And if anybody has any questions, you can put them in the chat and Christina will ask. So what we want to do is, since I'm gonna have a very full load, right, of towels actually. So I'm gonna have towels. I'm actually putting my bathrobe in there because it's kind of a fluffy texture. So I think that's fine to use in my towels. Plus, I probably want to have that water a little hotter with that one. And I had a pair of slippers, so I'm gonna put that in. But because I have a full load, I'm going to go ahead here and look, and this says that for a medium load, is 1, right? And for a large load is 3. So I'm going to fill up to my 3 mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this right in the wash machine first. So before I put my clothes in. Now, I'm kind of used to doing it. I don't use the liquid. So you will also have a tray. So technically, my bad. Technically, that should have went in your, there's a little tray in here. I don't know if you can see that. You could have put it in here as well. If you have the pod, it goes right in the bin.
Okay, and so, and I'll let you know, I'll add to it too, that some of us have the machines that don't have, some of us have machines that don't have trays. We have some older machines. So when you
Oh,
get a
okay.
machine, like it has an agitator in the middle of it and it doesn't have a pull-out dispenser tray to put your soap in, you put the soap in the bottom of the machine first.
Oh, okay. So, well, there you
Majority
go.
of the time.
Majority of, so I had these little, I got these to try because I hadn't had them before. So I got these to try. So you just kind of put those in. So sometimes I forget about the little pull out thing that's in there. Okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and load in my items here. And we'll just pretend that we're going to fill this load up all the way. All right, so let's just pretend we've got everything in there because I don't want to run the wash machine while this is on. And so now you have your different settings here. So we're going to hit, the on button here. And you're going to see, Christina, can you see that okay?
Zoom in just a little bit more. Well, now the light's kind of glaring over it.
Okay,
Go a little bit closer, a little bit closer. Well, no, that's okay.
Hold on, let me turn the one light off on the ring here. Let me turn it
Okay.
down. Is that less glare?
It's a little bit less. Go ahead, zoom in a little bit closer because I think once you get a little bit closer, there, that's better right there. Yep, that's good.
Okay.
And then
Right.
go to your right a little bit. There you go.
All right. Because I can't see on this one. Well, actually, so on my mom's, right, she actually has a bedding setting. But what you want to look for on this, right over here, we have our temperature setting, our soil level, and our spin. These automatically come up here with my mom's.
All right, just a little bit so we can see those. There you go.
Okay. So the temperature here you could do on warm or on hot. With my towels and my sheets, I tend to wash those warmer than I wash anything else. But like I said, on here, like you can see, we have a deep water wash, bedding, sanitize with oxy and steam. So everybody's machines are going to be a little different. So you'll have to check yours out. We have a cold wash cycle, wrinkle control delicates, right? That's what we would use if we were going to wash those specialty sparkle items that I have. And if we have something that's really, really dirty, maybe we have to soak it first. And then this washer has a clean washer, which we'll talk about later in the maintenance part of it. So we would set it to where we need it to be, right? So we're going to do bedding. And then we have everything here is already checked off for us. And then we were just going to hit the start button. Oops, and let it run its cycle, right?
Stay there for 1 second. I was just gonna add something. So
Okay.
a lot of us have newer machines that have everything already automatically picked out for each fabric and for what it knows can work best. But for some of us that might not, we need to know like if you go to a laundromat, you get very basic settings. So I could speak more, but I'm wondering if you want to expound on some of that, like what works for, like if you were at a laundromat and didn't have
Oh, yeah,
a
sure.
machine that does all the settings.
All the fancies.
Right.
Yeah, so what we want to do is, and what I can do is I have another little laundry cheat sheet that I pulled off of, and Christine, I can send you these links and then you can send it over to everybody later.
Okay.
I mean, it was just little sheets that I found that were helpful. And, when you get started, maybe it's nice to have these little sheets with you just to remind you what all your steps are.
Right.
Like on here, it says, your dark clothes, right? It says normal wash in cold water. Here we have whites and light colors. So we're going to wash again in a normal wash with warm water. Delicates, we're going to, if we're using a delicates and we're not hand washing, right? We're going to wash on a gentle cycle with cold water, and then towels and bedding, normal wash with hot water. So that'll just gives you some little steps to help you when you're first starting out trying to, doing the laundry on your own. This site also was like, how we're going to separate out. Another big thing, make sure you check all your pockets. Cannot tell you how many times I've put almost put my car keys through the wash, or you don't want to lose your lip balms or your lipsticks in there too and melt those and end up with those all over your clothes in the washer or in the dryer. That's not fun either.
And I will tell you that your chip does not work on your card after you wash it and dry it a few times.
Yeah. Douglas, we just actually did that and washed one of our big truck keys.
Yeah.
Luckily, he caught it before it went in the dryer, and luckily it still worked because they're about $600 to replace. So we don't want to do that. So here, again, fasten your hooks on your delicates and place them in your mesh bags. Another thing was they said you could use a pillowcase. So if you don't have the dryer bags right now, not a big deal, right? Just use your pillowcase and put your things that you want to keep separate.
Oh, I have done that. And actually, I've used my hairband sometimes, and I've actually.
Oh, you had to close it up.
I closed it up with the hairband and I folded it over and closed it up so that it would keep all the delicates inside there. Because sometimes I've been stuck and I didn't have a bag.
Yeah, so I thought, I think that really helps a lot. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way here because I have a lot of different things that I thought was interesting or that I thought maybe might be helpful for some people when they're first starting out. So, okay, so let's pretend like we've washed everything here. And we want to make sure that we don't leave that right in the wash machine too long. We want to try to make sure that we're not forgetting about the clothes that are in there, right? Because if they sit too long, especially depending on what climate you're in, they're going to mold or mildew or get smelly really, really fast. And then you're going to have to wash them again and try to get that smell out. So sometimes maybe I have to set a reminder on my phone because I forget that the wash, because it's in the basement. So I forget sometimes that I have laundry in there. So I have to set a timer on my phone. Okay, so we talked about like how we might want to separate things out into your laundry bags, like your socks and your undergarments. And then, as you get older, maybe sometimes your undergarments are a little bit more expensive. So you want to make sure maybe that you're hand washing those, and that you would just do in the sink, add a little bit of soap. You're not going to need very much, right? You're just going to maybe a quarter of a teaspoon into your water and wash your clothes that way, and then or your undergarments that way, and hang them on a drying rack, which I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss anything over here. So if you have things that are heavily soiled, or if they have stains on them, right? We want to make sure we're treating those stains first. And if you have, like, let's say you've been out and you've been playing outside, or you play sports maybe, and you've had to treat your clothes because maybe you got grass stains on them, or you've got them covered in mud. You're going to want to make sure you wash those clothes. Make sure you wash those clothes separately, because you don't want to transfer any of that onto your other clothes. So try to keep those type of clothes washed together. So here's another little cheat sheet. Again, this is from that the Spruce, which I really like their stuff. So I just made some notes on here, but it's just a reminder, like if you have a standard washer or a high efficiency washer, how much product you're going to use, because you don't want to overuse product because it's expensive, right? So we want to make sure that we're not using too much, we're not wasting money. And if we use too much, it's not going to actually help clean your clothes any better. So then you also have to look at, what do we have? A 2X. So I guess there's a couple of different kinds of detergents. So you have 2X, 4X, and 10X. So they're concentrated amounts of product. So the more concentrated it is, the less product you're going to use. Okay. So again, I can put these little links and I'll send them over to Christina and she can send them out to you guys. And then that way you'll have some little cheat sheets to help you with your laundry. Another one that I don't have a sample of, but sometimes you might have, I forgot, a powdered detergent. So you want to put that in your tub first, okay? You're also going to look at scented and unscented, and that's just really personal preference. I prefer unscented. Okay, that was everything from that. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything with that one. Okay, so let's pretend like we have, we've washed this load of clothes is washing, right? And now we're getting ready to put it in the dryer. I thought I had one more ball here. So I have this little bag, right, that has these great little nifty balls in it. And these are called laundry balls. And they help so that your clothes don't get wrinkly or all jumble up together in the dryer. So I just put this in the dryer and I just leave it in there. And then that way, when I put my things in the dryer, it's already there. I don't have to mess with it. But again, it's going to help so that I don't have, especially if you have your sheets in that, they tend to ball up. So if you put that in, my mom has some different kinds. So she has really big ones and she just puts them in by themselves. Now, even if you wash some of your, like I'm going to wash my specialty stuff, even my stuff with my little gemstones on, what I do is I turn those inside out so that when I wash them, hopefully I don't lose too many sparkles, right? The other thing is you can also hand wash them. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to that. So I just like things that I can put into the wash machine, and then I'm just going to put them on the gentle cycle. So that's what I did with my sparkly pants, right? I just turn them inside out. And I'm going to wash all my sparkly things or my specialty garments together. So like I have all these dark clothes. Again, these pants, like I showed you before, have all the little metal pieces on them, right? So none of these am I going to put in the dryer. So once I wash these, right, they're all going to go on a drying rack. So we'll keep those separate, but that's what we would do with those. Right here. Sorry, guys, I lost my train of thought here. So if we've moved all this out here, so I'm going to show you a drying rack here. Now my mom has a really great, big, huge drying rack. But this is the one I have. I just have a small one. And then it just folds up really nicely. Sometimes people, I know they might have a drying rack or shelving or like a bar above their washer and dryer, which is also very nice because some things, right, you can hang on your hangers and let them hang that way because it says hang to dry. Again, you're going to have to read your labels on your specialty items, okay? Otherwise, if it says lay flat, right, we can just, I'm going to lay out all my clothes here onto these rungs so that they can dry. Now I know, like my specialty ones like this, we don't want to put these on a hanger because it's going to stretch out that fabric. So I'm going to lay those flat across the top. Okay, so then we would just let them dry that way.
Very good. I don't have a drying rack. We lay stuff sometimes on top of the dryer or on the edge of something, or we might put stuff on a hanger and we'll hang it up in the shower on the shower
Same.
rod.
Same. And so I do the same thing. Like, so sometimes it depends on like how much room I
How much
have. Like
stuff there is.
my drying rack is very small, so I can't fit that much. But like if I have like my bras or maybe a swimsuit, then I can put those here on the edge and I hang them off of that.
Yep.
I put them on the back of chairs. I put them on the dryer. I will do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't always have room for everything, or I have too many, I've done a load of specialty stuff and I have too many specialty pieces. You just have to be careful if you're using a hanger with certain fabrics because what it'll do is it'll stretch that fabric out.
Yeah, and
But
then
we
you'll
don't
have
want
the
to do
shape of
that.
the hanger in your clothes.
Correct. Then you have the
Yeah.
shape of the hanger on your clothes. Right. But now, like, okay, remember my little green shirt that I have here? This one says hang to dry. So we know that that's what we're supposed to do with that one. So this
Right.
one, you know, I'm just going to stick on my hanger. And I know everybody has different ones. I've had plastic ones. I've had all different kinds, but because of the type of clothes that I wear a lot, I like the ones that have the little velvet piece because then I'm not losing my tops all the time.
Right.
Here's another kind of hanger. So these are where I put my skirts, right? So I'm going to clip these on here to my skirts. You could do your pants too, but depends on like how much space you have. So those are nice to have for your skirts. Then let's say that everything just depends on how much room you have. So I have done a little bit more of the KonMari style, I guess, for how to fold laundry. So once you're taking all your clothes out, right, you want to hang those things up right away that will get wrinkled really fast, right? So we're going to hang those up so that way they're out of our way. And then the other things, maybe we're going to put our socks together, put our pants together. Sweaters, for me, I don't have a lot of room to do sweaters, and I feel like they kind of get messed around. So I kind of have a couple of my thinner, nicer sweaters. I put them on the hanger.
Very
So
neat.
what I
style.
Yeah, because you don't want to hang these, right? Because again, it's a thinner fabric too, and if I do that, it's going to pull on this fabric too much.
Right.
So, and then sometimes it'll put the little line in the center, but once you put that on, that pretty much comes off. So all you do is fold your sweater. Okay, we're going to fold this sweater in half. And then pull it through here so that it, you know, your armpits here are right here. It's kind of so, and these are your arms. So you just kind of pull them around. So my nicer sweaters like this, I kind of put on these little, on my hangers and hang them in the closet.
That's a
Those are
great
my
idea.
dressier sweaters. My bulky sweaters, I don't really do this with. I do fold them and put those in my drawer, but I like my nicer sweaters to be like this.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Now, let's swivel back around here.
And I'll tell you, for those of you that are listening in, something else to just know is that if you don't wear stuff after a while, dust settles on the tops in the
Right.
closet. So some people aren't aware of that, and they might put on something and leave, and then there's dust all over their shoulders. And so it's kind of like a good thing to like just pay attention to your clothes when they're hanging in the closet. We spend money on clothes. Not all of us spend a ton. Some of us, you know, we thrift and we get clothes that way, but you're still spending money on clothes. And I tend to think that we throw out a lot of clothes because they get worn or they don't look good anymore. And a lot of times it's how we've washed them, dried them, and hung them that wears clothes out. So it's just pay
Correct.
attention to things.
And especially like your sweaters, right? I mean, depending on what part of the country you're from. I know maybe up in Ontario, you're going to wear warmer clothes longer than we would here in South Carolina. So if I left my sweater hanging on a regular hanger, you know, for 8 months, 9 months, because I mean, we're not wearing super heavy sweaters that much, then I'm really going to have problems. And it's hard to get those little indentations that are created on the fabric. It's hard to get those out then.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit back to, sorry guys, a little bit back to drying. So again, everybody's dryer is going to be a little different. And I'm going to try to zoom in on that as the best I can. Let's see here. Okay, is that pretty good, Christina? Can everybody see that well?
Yeah, that's good. It's a little bit far away, but I mean, it gets the whole thing. So
So you'll have to check out your dryer, right? Because like my mom's dryer is a little bit fancier. I have a lot of settings on mine too, but you just need basic settings. But, you know, here's your power button. And then, you know, what are you washing? I mean, I'm sorry, what are you drying? Are we doing some bedding, some maybe super heavy duty fabrics? Do we need to steam refresh anything? Here's our delicate cycle. Though most of the time, if I have delicates, I'm just really putting them on my drying rack. Here's some denim, but most of the time, right, we're probably just going to do a normal setting. Then you have your temperature gauge here. So this is set on medium heat, which is probably for most things a pretty good place to be. But the more delicate the fabric, right, the more the cooler we want the heat to be for the dryer. And for the most part, right, I want to make sure that the clothes are dry when they come out. Again, if you're doing some nicer fabrics, maybe you just want them to fluff them up a little bit and you don't really want to dry them the whole way. So, you know, you'll have to check out these. And I don't know, Christina, on the standard dryer, do they have that many options? Like, I don't know what the standard options are.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's cool, warm, and hot sometimes. Well, I'm trying to think, like last year my dryer broke, and so I had to go to the laundromat for about a month until I fixed the dryer. And it was cool, warm, and hot. And sometimes you think, oh, you want everything on hot because you want it to dry quickly because it's a quarter for every 8 minutes or something. But really you don't. You want it, the higher the heat, the more damage to the fabric.
Right.
So you want it medium heat and a little bit longer. And then I usually say check it midway through, sometimes just to make sure if it's all done, then stop.
Right, because we don't need to over dry it.
Right.
Yeah, so again, it's going to be, you know, it just depends on your dryer exactly what buttons you're going to push, right? So, and that maybe too, your moms can help you with just a little bit, or somebody who's, you know, showing you how to do your laundry at home as well, show you how to use your specific washer and dryer, because everybody's is going to be slightly different.
I was just going to say, like that delicates that you have over there. Sometimes I've been known when I was younger to take some of my delicates and put them in the dryer for about 10 minutes just to kind of speed up the drying process. For some things, it was kind of like, well, or I'd let it air dry for a while and it was like almost done. And I'd pop it in the dryer for 10 minutes just to kind of warm it up and get any wrinkles out of it or that hardness. Sometimes clothes have a hardness in them when they air dry. A couple of years ago, our dryer broke again earlier. A couple of years ago, we had to dry stuff outside on the line for a good month. And our clothes were so stiff. So I ended up adding fabric softener, which I don't really like, into the washing machine. But what I did outside is I'd hang stuff out to dry, and midway through while it was drying, I'd go and I'd rotate. So I rotated everything. Like if I hung the jeans halfway, I went and hung them by the leg parts. You know, I would go and rotate stuff so I didn't have the laundry line in my clothes. And like if you hung the shirts up by the shoulders, you're gonna have marks there.
Oh,
I
right.
would rotate it and I would do it the other way and I would shake them out real quick just to kind of loosen up that fabric and keep it from
Yeah.
getting stiff.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like my mom, she dries almost all her stuff on a drying rack. And I don't do that. I put almost everything except for my specialty things. I put everything in the dryer. I also don't buy clothes, generally speaking, that you have to iron. Ironing is a whole art form all in itself that I don't have that skill. That's that great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I used to,
I kind of avoid fabrics that I have to iron.
yeah. And I
Um,
used to buy stuff and as I used to iron and I used to do stuff. And then I learned when I went to stores and I bought things, I bought stuff that I knew I could wash and dry.
yes.
And sometimes
Yeah,
there's
I
a
mean,
lot of,
I do the same.
yeah, sometimes there's just a lot of freedom. If I look at somebody, I go, oh, I really like this. Now, am I willing to hand wash this every time and hang it to dry? And if I'm not, then
Sure.
I'm gonna buy it.
Well, and I mean, that's also how I do it. Or if I think, as you are doing more and more laundry, right? You're going to say, oh, well, I know that I could wash this on a gentle cycle, or I could hand wash
Right.
this and not do the dry clean. But that's something that one, you have to be willing to take the risk on.
Right.
And two, the more you do laundry, the more you'll know, I could do this a little bit. I have a little bit more freedom. And
Yeah.
that just comes with, time and the more the more you
Right.
do laundry,
But make sure that you know,
you'll be able to tell with your fabrics.
and make sure you know you can do it. You can get
Yes,
this.
make
There's
sure you
certain
know you
things
can.
that I
do it.
would at the store and I'd see it said dry clean only. I was like, nope, not getting it because I'm not taking it to the
Mm.
dry cleaners.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
dry cleaning is very expensive.
Expensive. Yeah.
So let me see here. So I'm going to try to. The one thing we want to make sure when we are working in our dryer, and I'm going to take this phone off here just a second, ladies. Okay, so in here in the dryer, try to get down to the right spot. You're going to have, usually it's right here at the door. You're going to have a little space that will pop out that has your lint. Okay, so every time you go to use your dryer, right, you want to check this lint, because if you get lint buildup in here, one, it's going to back up all through your dryer, and it could start a fire because lint is very flammable. So you want to make sure that every time you get ready to do your drying, that before you start the dryer, you remove this lint filter and make sure that you take the lint out of that. Okay. My mom's like very diligent about that. So you don't have a lot of buildup in her dryer. But like, let's say that and you don't do that at the laundromat, right? Because somebody else, that's their job, right? They're checking all of that. But if you're doing laundry at home, just make sure that you check it and clean out all the lint from that so that, we don't potentially cause any fires or any backup. So that's something that you can do. You can do when you're doing the laundry at home. Now, just so that at the back of your dryer is also, there's a silver ductwork piece, and sometimes even as adults, we forget that we need to check the dryer duct that comes out of the back. So that's something for an adult to check on. But once or twice a year, make sure that is also cleaned out, because lint, if you don't clean out that lint from the inside, it's more likely even going to be on the ductwork going out of the house as well.
And can I expound on that for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, so I just want to, I have fixed my dryer. So I've taken my dryer apart in 2 pieces in the past and put and fixed and replaced pieces. So from the front of your dryer to the back of your dryer, there is a long silver tube that all the hot air runs out to, and it connects to the ductwork in the back that connects out. Now, I will tell you, every once in a while, it's not a bad idea to learn a little bit about your dryer. If you disconnect the ductwork in the back to clean that out, take a vacuum and vacuum up like I would say dry vac, and vacuum in that silver ductwork. That's that there's a long ductwork piece inside the dryer, because my better half over here is a firefighter, And he was at a fire call about 2 months ago, and the woman said the dryer is the reason for that they lost their house. And she said, I just cleaned the ductwork. I just cleaned out the vent. And I said to him, I'm gonna bet she didn't think about the part in the middle. So in the inside your actual dryer, there is a part. And I will tell you, dryers are actually not a scary thing to take apart. They are actually pretty easy to do. You can YouTube a video on how to do that. So they're not hard to do. And so I have done it and taken and sometimes even when you took out the dryer lint right there, I've taken a vacuum that has the narrow piece and I
Mhm.
stuck it down inside and just vacuum inside, because there is stuff that gets down to the blower motor that you can't see and things
Mhm.
down in there.
Right.
My mother lost some gold necklaces one time, and come to find out somebody had put them in the pocket. She'd put them in her pocket, and for years she lost them, didn't know where they were. And she had an issue with her dryer, and the repairman came out and he took everything apart, and sure enough, that had gotten down and had gotten jammed down inside her dryer in a spot that it didn't cause any damage, but that's where it was. And it was like, wow, I didn't think that stuff could make its way all the way down through the parts of your dryer. So I'm not
Yeah, so
saying,
I've been following this appliance repair guy on Instagram, and he took apart a dryer one day, and people give him free appliances all the time. So he was taking the dryer apart, looking at like, okay, what do I need to fix so he can resell it. Well, when he pulled that dryer apart, I swear, I think there was this much like in the underneath carriage of lint. There was $300. I mean, like there was all sorts of stuff down underneath there. And all I could think of is, oh my gosh, that those people could have lost their house with as much lint. It was trapped underneath, like that spot that's like between the bottom, so where your dryer rotates around, and then the actual bottom of the dryer, like where all your pieces are, that whole section in there was full of lint. It was pretty scary, actually.
wow.
Um,
Yeah, my mom could not get her lint tray to go back down, and it was a defect in that machine because I had looked that up. So she had tape on the inside over it because her clothes would get caught on it and it would twist them up. And so when
right.
I was in Florida about 2 years ago, I went in there and I took out the lint tray, I unscrewed it, took the whole lint tray out, took parts out, and there was a thick amount of dryer lint that had built up that was smushed down in there. And I scraped all that, and then I could get her lint tray to actually go all the way down. So
Right.
if the lint tray doesn't go all the way down, sometimes you actually need to take apart the whole piece mechanism. And so many of those parts you can actually find online. And it's actually, for me, it's kind of fun to actually take apart the dryer because there's not a lot to it. And it's just kind of neat how it all works.
Right.
Not that
Okay,
I'm
so
not that I'm encouraging all of us to go out there and get tools and go take them apart if they're working. So I just want to make sure
it might be something fun that you can do with one of your parents. Like, let's learn how the dryer works. Okay, so now we've got everything's washed, right? Everything is dry. Now we need to figure out, okay, what are we going to do next? So we want to hang the items that we can hang, right? And then let me see here. Try to go to this little table. So a couple of years ago, one of my girlfriends really got into the whole KonMari folding. And I had no idea how much room I was wasting or how many things I couldn't find because they just weren't done in a way that makes it super easy to find. So I love doing my t-shirts in this KonMari method, which I don't have any t-shirts in here with me today. So I'm going to show you on one of the sweaters that I have. So what she has done, let's say you have your space for right where we're going to be working, because now we're going to fold our laundry because we want to make sure that we put everything away so that we don't end up with wrinkly clothes. And so our rooms don't look quite so crazy. So let's say this is our t-shirt, right? We spread our t-shirt out. And then we're going to fold this one, which I guess black is a little bit hard to see, so I'm sorry. So we're going to fold our sleeve over here too. I've got mine going to about the corner here of my shirt, right? I'm gonna go over to about where the neck starts. And I'm gonna fold the other side over, and I'm just kind of moving these little sleeves over if they kind of come off. So I'm gonna, again, this is a little heavier sweater, so it's a little harder to do than your t-shirts. And then what I've done, again, it depends on how deep your drawers are, but I've kind of fold these in a way that when I go to put them in my drawer, right, this is my decorative piece, and I'm going to put them all in my drawer like this. Because, well, my mom's drawer is very thin here. I can't really see that very good. My mom's drawer is very thin because this is in the laundry room, right? Not in my dresser. But if I was doing this in my dresser, I'm going to have all of my shirts stacked up nice and neat going this way. And then I'm going to be able to see, and I kind of color coordinate my drawers as well. So I can kind of see right away, okay, all my black t-shirts or shirts are here. And then like today, right, I have one that has a decorative part on the front and I have a decorative part on the back. So when I fold this, I'm going to either be able to see this front part or the back part, depending on how I'm folding. I kind of like to do it so that my back part is showing, because then I know, oh, it's my hot pink one. And I know right away which shirt I'm looking at, right? So I don't want to end up with just a bunch of black t-shirts here. So I like to fold them, and then you get so much more, right, in your, get so much more in your drawers. So you're going to fold them all like this. And let's see what else I have here.
Very cool, nice.
Yeah, so like I was so shocked when she's like, oh, let me show you what I learned, right? So we're all learning, right? I mean, I'm 50. And when I was looking up some things to tell you guys about your laundry, how to do laundry today, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know that was such a great idea. Like the thing with the socks. I'm like, if you're coming from a bigger family, right? Or when my stepdaughter was living with us, her and I, we had the same socks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would have been so much easier instead of us trying to figure out whose socks were who and why is this one not where it's supposed to be, or the socks get eaten in your washer and dryer. It seems like sometimes the fairies take them. And so then I'm like, if you have them in your laundry bag, then how simple is that? You don't have to fiddle fart around with like, okay, whose sock does this belong to? So I thought it was a nice little trick. So I learned something new today too. So, okay, this is another shirt that, right, generally I hang this shirt, but just so we can practice our folding again. Again, it's kind of in thirds, I guess is a good way, because here's a third, we've got a third underneath there, and we're pulling this over. And then I just kind of fold it in a third. So then I would have them, stacked right in my drawer, nice and neat. And now I know what everything is right away. So you do the same thing with your socks. So I have everything from little tennis socks to knee-high socks. So you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to take them. Let me make sure. And you're just going to fold them like that. They're in three little pieces. So you work on your fractions, right? They're a third. And stack them in your drawer. Now I know exactly what socks I have. Everything is matched up. Super easy peasy. And then your drawers look all pretty, and you can fit so much more. You can fit so many more items in there, and without it looking messy. And you're like, Mom, I can't find anything. Where's that shirt? Where's this? You already know where everything is because it's all folded nice and neat. And then you can, go to the thrift store more to go shopping because you've got more room in your closet. Okay, let's do a pair of pants. So I do the same thing, right, with my pants. With pants is really great too, because again, if you're wearing jeans or long pants, then we're just going to fold them in half. So fold them in half first. And you just want to make sure, right, you don't have any creases in them because we don't want them to get wrinkled. And again, I'm going to sort of kind of fold in thirds. Maybe it'll be a little bit more than a third. Maybe I got this little extra piece. And you'll have to play around because it depends, right? My pants are actually probably going to be longer than yours. So you just kind of going to have to play with them to make them fit in your depth of drawers, because everybody's is going to be a little different. But again, I'm going to fold them, and now they're going to be able to fit in my drawers. So if that doesn't work the first time, you'll be able to figure out, within a time or two, oh no, I need to fold them a little different to make them fit in my drawers better, right? Now I know too, these are my black leggings with my little metal sparkles on them. So I know what I have right away. Okay, so do one more pair of pants here. These you will see super well. You can't miss these. Okay, I've got my super sparkly glitter pants.
I always love your clothes, Nicole.
Thanks. So again, I folded them in half, right? And now I'm going to work on my fractions. I'm going to kind of do a third and a third. And then like if they're a little too big, right? I'm just going to stack them. So I've done a third and a third, and now I'm going to do them in half. Okay, and now all of my pants are going to be stacked up nice and neat, and I know exactly what I have. Okay, so let's talk about what are we going to do once we have all of our clothes all folded up nice and neat. And now we have to do some maintenance, right? We want to make sure that we're keeping our, if they're your own washers and dryers, right? If you're going to the laundromat, which I mean, at times I love the laundromat. I get all my laundry done in like an hour and a half.
I know, it's
super
awesome.
super easy to fold and get everything done. But if you're working, at your own house, then we want to make sure, right, we're keeping our washers and dryers in our best thing. We already saw what to do with the dryers, right? We're going to clean out the lint. If we are wanting to check our washer, right? Like my washer, my mom's washer, right, has a setting for, you're going to put, theirs recommends this, right? So you're going to put one of these in the washer, and you're going to set it on the cleaning setting. And you're just going to open one of these up and throw them in the tub with no clothes, all by itself, and hit that setting. I have these, which is, this is the guy that I follow on Instagram. This is what he uses. And so I have one of these, and you're going to use this like once or twice a month. Like his is nice, right? Because it has a little check sheet in here. So you can check it whenever you've done your cleaning. And if you haven't done one before, then maybe you want to do, you might need to do it twice just because you've got some buildup in there. But again, you're just going to open this up, right? We're going to pop one of those in and do it on either a clean your washer setting, or as a regular load of clothes. Okay. I thought this was kind of neat. He showed us this. He actually pulled apart a washer that he was fixing, and it looked like this side, right? It was all gunked up and kind of crazy looking. And you're like, oh my gosh, if my washer looks like that, is it really getting my clothes clean? Maybe not. So once he cleaned it, then you got to clean your washer so that we have a clean washer to wash our clothes in as well. So anyhow, I just thought that was interesting. But this is, and it gives you your steps to remind you how to use everything, to make sure you read your labels. And I think that's it, everybody. Unless anybody has any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
We had Tony said, can you share the name of the Instagram guy you follow? Which is very, yeah, can you share it? Because I was thinking, I've gotten those fresh tablets to put in before, and I have a clean cycle, but I actually know there's a way I can even take out the drum. I just don't really want to do that with this machine.
Yeah. I mean, like I was going to do that and play around with the drum one time on my old system.
Yeah.
And then I decided I didn't want to mess with that. So
Yeah.
he was actually repairing the washer. Plus he was doing the video so that he could show,
Right.
what it looked like and why you want to wash up your thing. I don't remember the guy's name, but Christina, can we send them that with the
Yes.
link?
Yep. Yeah, I'll send you the link. Okay. I like that one. I know soap creates buildup, and sometimes the more stuff that we have, like fabric softener, like the liquid fabric, so it all creates a buildup inside the washing machine, and it can affect how much you can clean. I was having an issue with the clothes over here. We have well water, and I was having an issue with washing the clothes, and they would smell sour somewhat.
Mhm.
And it's because there was too much buildup in the machine. And so I had to do a clean cycle with a couple different cleaning things. And some of it was like a cup of bleach water that I even had to put in there just to help clean out the machine and get everything, get all the gunk off of it. So, yeah, that one looks like it's a really good product too.
Well, and the Instagram guy too, well, he'll talk to you about the dryer maintenance with the
Right.
vents. And you'll be able to see that one video that showed the built up from that one dryer. I didn't really talk about fabric softener, mostly because I don't use fabric softener. I have a really big issue with fragrances. So a lot of that all smells too much for me.
Right.
So I don't use any of that kind of stuff. I know some people do, some people use vinegar. You'll just have to check your wash machine and see if you have it that it goes right in the washer, or if there's a separate little dispenser and you put it in your dispenser. I personally don't use fabric softener. I don't line dry my towels and stuff either. Like my uncle hand dries his towels. He likes that crunchy, dry feeling on towels. I like the super soft, dry feeling on the towels. So it all goes back to personal preference. And, you know, obviously the more you're hanging up your laundry, right, the less energy you're using. So if you're trying to be conscientious about that, you know, then you can, you know, hang dry or line dry if you have a clothesline. I haven't had a clothesline in a very long time, so I don't do any of that.
So I
But
will just add, for those of you to know that a lot of times fabric softener, what it does is it actually creates a waxy buildup on your
Mhm.
clothes. And that's the reason why it keeps your clothes softer. And that's not, oh, your skin absorbs that. Which is why, like, using the dryer balls like Nicole showed, that beats around some of that fabric in the dryer, and it helps to lay that fabric back down. There's a thing that happens when you wash your clothes, all the fabric stands up and it kind of releases a lot of the dirt based on the formulation of the soap that's in the machine. I cloth diapered. So when I cloth diapered back in the day, you learn a lot about buildup and a lot about what soaps do to clothing, how it opens it up and how the dryer closes it. And how like the cold rinse at the end of the wash cycle closes the fabric back down, the fibers in the fabric. So the dryer, sometimes having the dryer balls in there, and some people put essential oils on that if they want it to have a smell. Because some people like the fabric softener leaves a smell, but they want a natural smell and not an artificial smell. So there's that difference too that you can use. So I'm just
Oh,
a little
I have a couple little tips though too about about when you're washing clothes. So make sure that you're like, if you are playing, maybe you're playing sports or you're taking yoga class or whatever, that, you know, when you come home and all of your clothes are kind of wet or smelly or whatever, because you've been sweating a lot, make sure you dry, let them put them back on the drying rack or something so they can dry a little bit before you throw them in the hamper. Because what happens is you've got all that bacteria. So that bacteria will continue to grow because now you've thrown those wet clothes in your hamper, and bacteria love warm, wet, dark spaces. So the bacteria growth kind of gets out of control. Yes, you're going to put it in your washer and you're going to clean it, but let's keep that to a minimum. So you want to make sure that you're hanging those things up to dry. Again, workout clothes shouldn't have fabric softener anyhow. So some of your clothes will tell you that you don't want fabric softener either way. Okay. Also, one of the things that I haven't done, but I think I'm going to start doing it as well, is that it said to wash your dark clothes inside out. And I thought that was a great little tip. So it's supposed to help it so that your dark colors don't fade. And we all know like what happens with black clothes. You know, I love that rich color. And then all of a sudden, like you've washed it a couple times and it starts to fade. So wash your clothes inside out. Also yellow, if your whites start to get a little yellow or gray, maybe you need to use a little hotter water, or your loads are too full, or maybe they're a little too dirty and we got to add just a little bit more, like a OxiClean boost or something to get the whites a little whiter. And I thought there was one more little thing that I had learned this morning that I thought was a nice little trick, but I think that's it. I think that's all I have unless anybody else has any more questions.
Okay, so let's open it up to see if anybody has any questions. You guys can unmute yourself if you want. Also, I was just telling DC said, thank you. I learned even more. Yeah. And so I was letting everybody know this is recorded, so you can always show this to others if you are part of a group of people, or if you want to share a video with somebody, like if you have a friend that totally made everything in their wash pink, you can say, hey, you might want to sit and watch this for a minute and learn a little something. Oh, I was just thinking to say, sometimes if you're using fabric softener or different things like that, and you notice that your towels or your hand towels don't dry, it's because you have too much, there's a buildup on your towels and you have to strip them. I was going to say that too, because sometimes we use our towels and drying off in the bathroom, and when you're drying off, you're seeing like your skin is still wet, it's not absorbing. It's because there's too much chemicals on it, and you strip it in usually using hot water. I used to strip diapers, and sometimes I even boiled water in the kitchen, and I'd pour that into the machine just to add some super hot water and then vinegar, and some water and vinegar. And you would do that on towels or hand towels or washcloths, just to help strip some of the chemicals that are on it, left on it from the washing machine. Just so you know. There's something I thought of when you were saying something too, but I don't remember. All right, so any questions? I can hush. Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about the KonMari folding system, you can look that up on YouTube. And it'll just help you like figure out how to fold things more efficiently for your space.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks, everybody.
I appreciate it. Okay, so whoever commented for DC said DC is gone to do laundry. LOL. Thank you so much for this session. She's even more amped about laundry. Take care, all.
Okay, thank you.
And hopefully, and that was from her mom.
Oh.
So very cool. It can be something fun and interesting to get your brain into. So I know. All right, so thank you. It's 12:10, so we are about 10 minutes past an hour mark for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. And
oh, thanks, Tony.